everyone, welcome. My name is Billy. Today I would like to share with you a pussy bow blouse dress with very billowy bishop sleeves that I made from 2.5 yards of about 58-inch viscose by Telio that I purchased from fabric.com. And so here's a close-up of the print of the fabric and also the texture itself. So today's video is in a way a continuation of the two videos, number 41 and 43, where I talked about movefabrics.com, Sewciety's free Onella pussy bow blouse. And so after I made up the black ensemble within animal print in my last video, I was really happy about how the entire ensemble looked. And also, I actually have an Instagram account now, and my handle is billies.sewing.corner. And so what happened was, after I posted the black viscose ensemble to my Instagram page, it got picked up by movefabrics.com. And so actually now if you go to movefabrics.com's homepage, if you scroll down a bit, you will actually see my ensemble there on the very sort of homepage of the website. And I just feel so flattered that my ensemble got picked, and it was such an encouragement for new sewers like myself. So I thought I would share it with you. And since I am so partial to dresses, I thought I would make a dress with the V-neck pussy bow blouse as a major design feature. And so I have two ways to go about it. And the first one would be extending the blouse, the hem of the blouse down to the desired length to turn it into a dress. And because the blouse itself, is a fairly straight, sort of boxy shaped blouse. So if I extend the length of the blouse to turn it into a dress, then I will also have a straight skirt. And then I could simply add a belt to cinch in at the waist to give myself some shaping. Another option is to use a sort of a shirt dress design that I have already used and just change the neckline to the Onella pussy bow blouse neckline. And so what I did was I decided to go with the second option. And because I do prefer a more fitted bodice and a bit more flared out skirt, exactly like the skirt in the black viscose ensemble that I shared with you in my last video number 43. And also over the summer, I have made quite a few fall or fake shirt dresses. For example, in my video 34, I talked about using the Q dress as my inspiration, or the video 39, where I made quite a few fall shirt dresses, FAUX. And so those are actually, so I'm using exactly the same bodice from those dresses and the same skirt. The bodice is a sort of I hacked from an original new look dress, and I just kind of I don't want to use the word perfected, but basically I just kind of modify over several projects. So now I think this bodice fits me very well. And for the skirt portion, I use the new look 6843 View A quarter skirt that I use for all these dresses. And because I'm very happy how those dresses turned out, I thought that I would use this bodice and skirt as my base for my pussy bow blouse dress. And so here is a picture of how I turned a regular bodice into a shirt dress type of bodice. So in the picture on the left, you can see that the original bodice is cut on the fold, and as you can see from the blue outline, so that was originally was a simple round neck bodice that is cut on the fold, and then in the picture in the middle, as outlined in red, I added about 2.5 inches to add the placket that would, for my shirt dress bodice. And then how I made the placket is actually quite easy. I extended the center front by 2.5 inches. And then when I construct the placket, I simply, turn the placket portion twice. And so I did not need to interface the placket portion. And this way, obviously, I saved a step, but also the placket would stay very pliable and would not be stiff, if I had interfaced it. And so this is the bodice that I used for those fake shirt dresses in video number 34 and video number 39. And to turn this neckline into the Onella Possible Blouse neckline, please look at the picture on the right here. And so in purple. So basically what I did was I put this new pattern piece, this new piece of paper over the Onella Possible Blouse pattern piece. And then that gave me an idea what the Onella Possible Blouse neckline would look like. So I just traced it over. And so that gave me the Onella Possible Blouse neckline. And because this one is the Onella Possible Blouse neckline, so I also knew that I could simply use the Onella's pattern piece for the collar and also the bow tie portion. And so, so I did not need to change anything. So I thought that would be very easy. And one thing I did have to remember was that my standard bodice and skirt and everything is the standard 5/8 of an inch, 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. But all of Mood's patterns, as far as I know, have a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I just have to remind myself that I would switch the seam allowance to 1/2 inch when I construct the neckline portion. When I construct the bow tie piece, and also when I connect this piece to the neckline. And about the construction for this very billowy sort of bishop sleeves, I have figured out from my prior projects that I do prefer no puff here at the sleeve head, and only puffs at the bottom here. So what I did was I also used the original sleeve pattern piece from this new look dress. But what I did was I simply widened the bottom portion. So for example, a sleeve pattern piece, has a sleeve head and then down. So I did not change the sleeve head portion because I wanted to stay, no puff. And so what I did was I extended from the two ends of the sleeve head just outward. And so outward, so it almost becomes kind of like you would fan it out, and then it will be a bit of a rounded edge at the bottom. And how much you fan it out will decide how much puff you have. So the more you fan out the pattern piece, the more puff you have. And so this is sort of what I did. I decided to have a lot of puff for this dress because number one, I have enough fabric for it, but number two, because this viscose is very drapey, and so even with a fairly exaggerated puff, it would not look ridiculous. And it so happened that this year, when I was doing quote-unquote my market research by checking out the websites of various department stores, it seems like the puff sleeves are everywhere, or other types of statement sleeves. It seems to be really in this year. And knowing myself, super exaggerated statement sleeves, are not exactly my thing. But I do think, the puff sleeves, sort of bishop sleeve like this, would be quite suitable for my personal style. So that's what I decided to do. And for the sleeves here, I added a little band here, a cuff. It's a fixed cuff, so there are no, so it's not a cuff that you would secure with buttons. And so this one, I just use the same pattern piece as the original Onella cuff, the same length, but the width, so the length and the width is, I cut it in 2.5 inches. So then the final result is just a little over half an inch. And so this is what the sleeves look like. And for this one, because it's a real shirt dress, versus the fake ones that I made before. And so for this one, I place the buttons a bit closer together. So I space them out every 2.5 inches. So then I will have no gaping. And so as before, I put one button here, exactly where the apex, would go, and then one at the very top of the placket, and then just space them out every 2.5 inches. And it so happened, I also made a belt for it, but here, actually at the waist seam here, it gaped a little bit because it just so happened that I have one button above and one button below. And so what I did was just added a snap here, a pair of snaps here, to keep the waist portion closed. And plus also, I made the belt, so it definitely covers it up. So there will be no gaping at the waist. I lined this pussy bow blouse dress with 2.5 yards of about 43-inch 8 mummy weight China silk that I purchased from Moon's store in New York City's garment district last year. And so here's a picture of the interior of the dress. And so now you see is the dress opened up with the front of the dress on either sides of the dress. And so to line this dress, the method is different from the other way that I line a dress where the opening is in the center back. And so for this one, actually it's quite easy. So basically what I did was I just made two copies of the exterior of this dress without the before I attached the collar piece or the cuffs for the sleeves. And so what I did was, after I made up two copies, one exterior, one in this China silk lining, I put the lining inside the dress, wrong sides together. Then I basted together the neckline and also the center front both sides, and also the hem area of the sleeves. And so they would, they would stay put. However, for the hem portion, they would remain separate. So what I did was I also hemmed the lining first before I secured the lining to the exterior layer in the front. And so after I secured them, then I constructed the placket first. And for the placket, for the exterior where the buttons show, it's a very clean line. I did not top stitch a placket. But for the bottom, because it's a bit tricky to work with, so I did sew a line to secure the placket. However, the way I did it, so then it would be hidden when the exterior side of the placket covers it up. And so this is how it works. And also, incidentally, I quite like these buttons that I got from Amazon. I think they look a bit more sort of refined, or maybe a bit more dressy than the standard 4-hole buttons. So I quite like them. And even though the colors of the buttons do not match the fabric perfectly originally, but once I sew them on, the buttons seem to take on the hue of the fabric itself. So I do, from overall, I'm very happy with the color matching of the buttons to the fabric itself. Even though I have used this bodice for so many dresses, after I finished the construction of this dress, somehow the front bodice just felt tight. And so I had some drag lines here and also here. And by the time I already closed up everything and also have inserted the cuffs, and then because the cuffs are sort of sewn together, because earlier I had basted the lining to the exterior fabric at this area, so that I could work on them as if they were one piece. And so when I attached this little band here, it was also attached to both the exterior fabric and also the lining. And so when I need to fix this, I was just not looking forward to having to unpick this and unpick the sleeves, both at the exterior lining and also the exterior side and also the lining. And so I was trying to figure out if there's a shortcut. So what I decided to do was I decided to work on the lining first. So what I did was I just sewed another line of stitching, connecting the lining sleeves to the lining bodice, simply by reducing the seam allowance from the standard 5/8 of an inch to about maybe 1/4 of an inch. And so that would give me about extra 1/2 inch of ease for the side. And if I do it for both sides, that will give me an additional 1 inch ease. And after I did that, I tried the dress back on, and it definitely felt a lot better. And the drag line disappeared on the left-hand side. So the left-hand side, is the way it looks now. It sits flat. So I'm happy, how it worked out. Even though I didn't change the exterior, I only changed the lining. However, for the right-hand side, there's still a bit of a drag line here. So, but then because I did not want to simply reduce the seam allowance overall, because then that would extend the shoulder seam and also the sleeves. And so what I did was I simply reduced it. So I sort of drew a line on the inside of the fashion fabric. So then there is no difference. There's no change, at the shoulder seam. And also there's no change at the underarm seam. But in between here, I drew a line this way and basically reducing the seam allowance by about 1/4 of an inch, at this sort of the middle part of this front armhole, and just gradually smooth it out to 0 difference and then to 0 difference. And so, and this method allows me to keep the shoulder seams the same and also will not have to change the underarm seam. But it did give me a little extra ease here, and I think overall it took care of the problem. And so overall I'm quite happy. So here is a video of this pussy bow blouse dress, and I paired it with a pair of 3.5 inch heels in mahogany. And overall, I am so pleased how this dress turned out. It is exactly what I had envisioned it in my head, and so I'm very glad that the final result did bear out my vision. And also with this very cheery red color and with this poppy print, I think it's perfect for the holiday season that is coming up. So this is the pussy bow blouse dress that I recently made, and I'm just so in love with this pussy bow feature, and I want to make more of these. So I do think I'll have more coming in my future videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I would like to wish you a very happy and very safe Thanksgiving this coming Thursday. And please do stay safe, and I hope I will see you soon. Bye bye.